Hey guys, we're going to go over the number sense review questions. So the first three questions are calculator inactive. Number 1 says, which expression has the least value when x equals 400? So in order to solve this, we're going to need to substitute 400 in for x for all 4 of these choices and then compare the final answers. So A says 100 over x, so that's going to be 100 over 400. Now that can be simplified. Anytime you see zeros, you can just cancel those out in pairs. And so that simplifies down to 1/4. So that's the final value of choice A. Choice B is 10 over x. So that's going to be 10 over 400. So I can cross off this 0 and this 0. And then what's left is 1 over 40. So far with these two fraction answers, I know that 1/40th would be smaller than 1/4, but let's see what C and D come out to be. So C would be 100 minus 400, which is negative 300. And then D is 10 minus 400, which is going to give us negative 390. So I have 2 fraction values and then I have 2 negative number answers. So I know that negative numbers are always going to be smaller than positive numbers. So I can narrow it down to C and D. So normally 300 would be smaller than 390 if they were both positive. But because they're both negative numbers, we have to reverse our thinking and realize that negative 390 is going to be the number that's the furthest to the left away from 0. So this is going to be the smallest answer choice. So number 1 is D. Okay, number 2 says a library has 15,000 fiction books and 8,800 nonfiction books. Currently 3/5 of the fiction books are checked out. 1/4 of the nonfiction books are checked out. Then it says 3/10 of the books that are checked out are due back this week. How many books are due back this week? Well, right here, I see this information is due back this week, and this is due back this week. So I know that those two things directly relate to each other. But let's go back and read the first part of it. 3/10 of the books that are checked out. Well, I don't know exactly how many books are checked out yet, but I can figure that out based on the first 2 bullet points. So it says 3/5 of the fiction books are checked out. Well, there are 15,000 fiction books, so we need to find 3/5 of 15,000, which means multiply. So I'm going to come up here and do 3/5 times 15,000, which I can write as a fraction over 1. Now, I can definitely do some cross-reducing here, which is going to make things a lot easier. They're both divisible by 5. This would become a 1. I can just essentially cover these zeros up and think about 15 divided by 5, which is 3, and then add the zeros back on. So this would simplify down to 3,000. Okay, now I can go ahead and multiply 3 times 3,000. Well, I know 3 times 3 is 9. Then I can add the 3 zeros back on. Over 1 times 1 is 1. So that means there are 9,000 fiction books checked out right now. So I'm going to need that number again in just a minute, so I'll circle that and we'll come back to it. Now let's go to the nonfiction books. 1/4 of those are checked out. So we need to find 1/4 of or times 8,800. Again, we can do some cross-reducing here. The 4 becomes a 1 because I'm dividing by 4. Now, 88 divided by 4 is 22, and then I can add those other 2 zeros back on. So that gives me 2,200. So when I multiply those, I get 2,200 over 1, which then is the same as just 2,200. Okay, so this is the number of fiction books. I'll just put F. Nonfiction in F. That's the number of books that are currently checked out. So now I need to add those 2 numbers together to see how many total books are checked out. So 9,000 plus 2,200. So when we go through and add these, we get 11,200. Okay, so this is the number of books currently checked out. Number of books checked out. Okay, now 3/10 of the books that are checked out. Now we know how many books are checked out. 11,000, oh, sorry, you couldn't see that. 11,200. So we need to find 3/10 of or times 11,200. So let's come back over here and do that. 3/10 times 11,200. Okay, I can cross reduce. Anytime I'm dividing by 10, essentially all we're doing is dropping a 0. So this is going to become 1,120 is what I'm left with here, and I have a 1 here. So now I need to go multiply 3 times 1,120. So let's come over here and do that. So 1,120 times 3, 3 times 0, 0, 3 times 2, 6, 3 times 1, 3, and 3 times 1, 3. So coming back over here, now we have 3,360 over 1 times 1 is 1, and then that simplifies down to 3,360 books. So that's how many are due this week. So that was a very lengthy process for that one. We had a whole lot of steps we had to do to get to the final answer there. Okay, let's go ahead to number 3. It says Kevin is paid $10.80 per hour. He worked 4 hours. He gave his mother 1/3 of his earnings. How much did he have left? Well, first let's figure out the total amount that he earned. If he earned $10.80 per hour and worked 4 hours, we can multiply by 4. So I'm going to multiply $10.80 times 4. So 4 times 0, 0. 8 times 4 is 32. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3, and 4 times 1 is 4. Now I see 2 decimal places here, none here, so 2 plus 0 is 2. I need to go over 1, 2. Okay, so he made a total of $43.20. So he gave his mom 1/3 of that money. But the question asks, how much does he have left? So if he gave away 1/3, then he has 2/3 left for himself, right? So we're going to use 2/3. So now we need to find what is 2/3 of $43.20. Well, of means multiply. So let's come over here and get ready to multiply 2/3 times $43.20 over 1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and multiply 2 times $43.20, which is essentially just doubling that number. So that shouldn't be too difficult, $43.20. So this would give us 4, this would give us 6, this would give us 8. Move it over 1, 2 places. So now in the numerator spot, I have $86.40. In the denominator, 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, final step, I need to divide to simplify this answer all the way. So I have $86.40 divided by 3. 3 goes into 8 2 times. That gives us 6 with a remainder of 2. Bring down the 6. 3 goes into 28 8 times. That gives us 24. Remainder of 2. Bring down the 4. 3 goes into 24 exactly 8 times. So that gives us 24. I'm running out of space there, but then we don't need any more space anyway. So coming back up to the top, well, first of all, before I ever started dividing, I should have gone ahead and brought my decimal point up, but I forgot to do that. Okay, now if I'm dealing with money, I don't want to leave it as 28.8. That would be $28.80. So that's the amount of money that he has left. Okay, so that takes care of numbers 1 through 3, the calculator inactive. So now numbers 4 and 5 should go a little quicker because those are the calculator active questions. So let's go ahead and look at number 4. It says Craig earns the same amount of money each month. His electric bill is 1/15 his monthly earnings, and he pays a total of $1,320 each year for his electric service. How much does Craig earn each month in dollars? Well, first let's figure out how much he makes, or I'm sorry, how much he pays per month for his electric service. So if for the whole year he pays $1,320, we can divide that by 12. So when we do that in our calculator, we get 110. So that means he pays $110 per month for his electric bill. Now it says that his electric bill was 1/15 of his monthly earnings. So 1/15 of, let's just say E for monthly earnings, was equal to $110 because we know that that's how much he paid each month for the electric bill. Of means multiply, so 1/15 times E equals 110. So now we need to solve this equation. If it's a multiplication equation, we can solve it by dividing. So we will divide both sides by 1/15. Those will cancel out. Now in our calculator, let me show you the best way to put that in. So we're gonna do 110 divided by, and then the easiest way to put 1/15 in would be as division in parentheses. So I'm gonna put 1 divided by 15 in parentheses. So this means 110 divided by 1/15, and we get 1,650. So E equals 1,650. So the amount he earns each month is $1,650. Okay, number 5, which choice has a value that is closest to the value of the following expression? First, we need to figure out what is the answer to this. It's calculator active, so we can use our calculator. So let's get that back out. Okay, again, like we just talked about, I like to just put fractions in parentheses as division. So 2/3 plus 3/8. Okay, as a decimal, it comes out to be about 1.0416. All these 6's repeating and then a 7 at the end. That means that the calculator just rounded it because that's the last place value it could fit, but really it's a repeating decimal. So this is the value of our answer. Okay, now let's come to these and change these to decimals, and then we can see which one is the closest. So the easiest way to change a fraction to a decimal is just to divide. So 3 divided by 4, and that's one that we should just know anyway, is 75 hundredths. Well, 1 whole obviously is 1 whole, so I'll put 1.00. 5/6, so let's put that in. 5 divided by 6 comes out to 0.83, and it looks like the 3's are repeating. So this is 0.83 with a bar over the 3. And then 6/7, 6 divided by 7 is 0.857, and then there's some other numbers after it, 0.857, and there's more after. Okay, so we want to know which one is closest to this answer. Well, this is a little bit bigger than 1 whole. These 3 choices are all smaller than 1 whole. This one is exactly 1 whole, so I know that this one is going to be the closest.